you're doing? Good afternoon. Welcome to another time here. Welcome to another time at the book club. This is what we gotta do on Sunday afternoons. We've been reading through a book, The Good Life, by Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz. That's what we've been reading here, The Good Life. And we're presently in chapter 3 of it. There's fourth reading. Fourth segment reading in chapter 3. We're looking at different stages in life. We've looked at the teens, adolescents. We've looked at last week we looked at the young adults. Today we're going to be looking at the midlife, and so midlife is from 40 to 60 years old. Some people say it's 40 to 65, but generally it's 40 to 60 years old. That's what is classified as midlife. And that's what we're going to look at today. Just look at what it is, the issues we get to face in midlife, and possibly how we can handle it and do a better job at living through this life. This is where I find myself at 56 at the closing years of midlife, and as I read a book, the things I see there too are things that I've seen in my life, so I can testify to all that I've read in the book, and it's also helped me to see that things I see in my life are not strange. They are pretty much things that every other person goes through, so that gives me some kind of some kind of peace, and helps me to be able to better handle the issues of this stage in my life, knowing that it's not something that's peculiar to me. It's not because I'm missing out on something or the other, but it's just what it is. It's life, and I'm able to address it and leave it better, so hope that gives you get the same feeling from it. But I'm going to go ahead and bring up a slides, and we're just going to go through it. Just like always, my people on Instagram Live will not get to see the slide, but just enjoy the discussions. You would see it on Facebook Live, and you would see it also on YouTube Live. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get blessed by it. As always, feel free to comment, feel free to add your voice, and we can learn more, as we all put heads together. Two good heads are better than one, so let's do this. Alrighty, so that's the slide. Again, that's the book. Those are the authors, Marc Schulz, Robert Waldinger. They're the heads at the Harvard School study on adult development. So this is a summary of their learnings of this 85 plus years of study on adult development, or what makes a good life. So they've come up with their result, and we're reading their book, and we're hopefully learning, how to live a good life. One thing I find out, and probably one other reason why I'm presently doing a study through the book of Proverbs, is that, there are ways to engage life. There are ways to engage life. There are things you can do to win in life. Success leaves tracks. It leaves tracks, and you can learn from those tracks. You can retrace those tracks. And success principles and laws are repeatable. If you do the things that others have done, you will be successful. If you don't do them, you might not be successful. So all the things that have been written are full-time are for our own use, not just to put them on a book rack, but they are for our own use, so that we can be better people, we can succeed and even do better than those that have gone ahead of us. Like Isaac Newton would say, I have gone further. I have gone further. I have done better. I have seen further than those that have gone before me, because I sit on their shoulders to start from where they stopped, and therefore I can do better than them. I don't have to reinvent the wheel, do the same thing they've done before. I can start from where they stopped and I can do better. That's a blessing, of reading books. That's what I enjoy from reading books. I don't know how to do life on my own. I've never been here before. I have never been on this day before. I have never been this old before. But I can read the life of other people that have been at this age before, and I can learn how they succeeded. I can learn where they failed, and I then can do a better job at it. None of us knows all that we need to know on our own to live life, right? We can do a better job of our life by learning from other people. We're not completing ourselves, right? There are things that God has put here for us to learn, that if we learn them, we can do a better job at life. We all come with a purpose. We all come with an assignment. But one thing God didn't bless any of us with is how to fulfill that assignment. So he puts parents and guardians and those that have gone ahead of us to as guardians to help us, do a better job at life, at fulfilling the intent of our creation. Yes, we're created with everything that we need to fulfill purpose, but the how we didn't come with. We have to learn that, right? That is the essence of knowledge. That's the essence of understanding. That is the essence of wisdom. That is the essence of instructions. That's the essence of laws. That's the essence of principles. Then it's going to fly at us. We have to go grab them and use them for us to be a success in our life, a success in our endeavors, right? So that's the beauty of doing all of this. We get a schedule. So again, it's the title of the chapter we're on is called Relationship on the Winding Road of Life. Relationships on the winding road of life. Relationship on the different stages of our life. Relationship on the continuum of life, right? We're children, we go into adolescence, we'll go into the young adult life, we'll go into the midlife, then we'll go into the late adult life. And how do we win in all the stages of life? That's what we're discussing here. We have the chronological age, we're being children, teenagers, young adults, older adults, seniors, and elders, right? That's what this puts it. But you can also put some of this joined together, and we will talk about being children, being adolescents, being young adults, adult and older life here you can put together and call them midlife. And you have the late life being the senior and the elder together, right? So what we're looking at is the midlife, middle life. And again, it's from age 41 to 65 or age 41 to 60. It all depends on who you're talking to. The book here grabs it as 41 to 65. But let me be sure that that's what the book says, but what's more common is actually age 40 to 60. But yeah, the book puts it as 41 to 65, So, but most literature, you will find it as 40 to 60, but plus minus, that's where we find the middle life, And one of the things that used to start that section is a response from one of the candidates of the study at age 41. He was asked a few questions, and these are his answers. His answer pretty much typifies, what the middle life looks like, even though this was at this early stage of the middle life. The question was, what matters most to him at age 43 years old, And number one, he said, I'm growing old. He realized he is growing old. So one of the things that typify this timeline is the reality of mortality. right? And that I can tell you that from experience. I've never felt, I say that so often, ever before I even read the book, and at this stage of my life, I have, I'm at peace with mortality. I'm at peace with the fact that I'm going to die one day. I'm actually ready to die this second, because death has become a reality for me. When I was much younger, death was a far thing. It was a far thing. Today, I don't see it as a far thing. I see mortality is so much real to me right now, for several reasons. Uh, I've had health challenges, which comes with this age. I've had to go through depression. I've gone through times when I couldn't sleep for 48 hours. I felt I was dying, but I'm still here. But all of that brought me closer to what death is. Death is not something that's far. It's something that I've made peace with. I'm gonna die one day. My parents are gonna die one day. Death is an eventuality, and anytime it comes, irrespective of where it comes from, it should not throw my life upside down, right? But that's one of the things here, and this can either, if you don't make peace with death that is real to you in this age, you will have what we call midlife crisis. All right. So the things that face us in this age group, if we don't make peace with them, they become crises in our life. But we can avoid those crises if we rightly address the challenge of this age group. This age group is, there's no other, this age group is tied with that. It's called midlife crisis. When those challenges come to you, the way you make peace or no peace with them could turn to a crisis, and that's popularly known as midlife crisis. And you see a lot of people going through that within this age bracket, right? So that is a reality, and it hits you much more than any other time in this age group, right? And you feel it. Your body is telling you you're losing your hair, you're getting bored. I'm losing my hair. I'm getting bored. And whether I come to terms with that or not, can go a long way to affect, how I face life, the reality of me facing life. It could affect the reality of me facing life, to what extent and in what way I come to terms with the reality of the fact that I'm getting old, right? I'm getting old, all right, I'm gonna looking at my battery on my laptop, on my phone. I'm getting old, right? And I'm come to peace with that. The baldness, the grayness of my hair. My hair is not as black as it used to be. Some people then go and die. Irrespective of what you do about it, whether you die, you need to just find your peace around the reality of the fact that you're getting old, right? And your body is depreciating, right? You can renew some of it by eating right, taking care of your health, exercising, but then going to stop the death process. It's just going to slow you down, right? Two, he said, it feels like he may not achieve what he wanted, and that's another possible source of crisis in this age. Don't forget, the young adult was preparing us for success and was preparing us, to be able to handle life. We said life begins at 40, as we talk about the young adulthood, whatever you do in the young adulthood kind of sets your life, your trajectory of your life. That's when you have the strength to do all that labor, running around. The young adult has strength. And what do you do with that strength? In a whole lot of sense, determines your trajectory during your middle life, where you don't have as much strength as you had in your young life, but you can then consolidate what you've already gathered. You do have wisdom, but you don't have strength. So in a lot of ways, that could determine the trajectory of your life. Though all hope is not lost, you can still do some things. When you have life, you have hope, and you can still do some things, but it will take a whole lot more struggle than it would have taken if you had done sown the right seed in your young adult life, right? The other thing he said, not sure I know how to bring up children, because your results begin to show to you, whatever you've done in your young adult life, whether having children, raising children, your results will be apparent to you, and that could cause a crisis if you have not shown right, because your children are now they're growing, they're probably teenagers at this point in time, young adults at this point in time, and whether they've grown well or not, it could bring its own crisis to you, how your children are doing, and there's tension also possible in the workplace, and it all depends on what you did with your young adult life, how you set yourself up for success. You had the right certification, degree, at work, what position you are at work, you're probably thinking of retirement like I am right now, then you're looking at what have you done with your working life. Those could cause crisis, depending on what you've done, where you are, and how you're able to handle where you are going forward, could result in what we call the midlife crisis, right? All right. So some common questions that come in the midlife, still going in line what we just read, questions like, am I doing well compared to others? There is a temptation to compare yourself to others, it's just human to do that, it's human to do that, but there's a big deficiency in doing that. You have to be careful what you're comparing, because most often than not, we compare our weaknesses to other people's strength, right? The question you're asking is, for my age, am I where I should be? Not as much as me comparing myself to others. We're all different, and you'll never truly know how others are doing, because they won't necessarily tell you. They're just going to tell you their good points. They're going to tell you your strengths. They will not necessarily tell you the things they are struggling with, so more than comparing yourself to others, is comparing yourself to your goals. Based on the goals you've set for your life, how are you doing, right? That's more important than comparing yourself to others. Are you doing in line with a target you've set for yourself? One of the prayers I prayed, to God as I was growing and I saw younger people coming up is, God, at every age in my life, may I be able to carry the responsibilities of the age that I am in, and God has answered my prayer. God has answered my prayer. At every age, I can do what my age requires of me to do, right? It's not as much as me comparing myself to other people, but me being satisfied with my life, right? Being able to carry the responsibilities, the burdens that my age requires. That is more important than comparing myself to other people. That is why I find my peace. I have done a good job. I am not perfect, but I have done a good job at this point in time. I can still do a better job, but I have done a good job, right? And I'm not resting on my horse. I'm still working. I'm still doing a good job. But so far, so good. I have set goals for myself, and I have made mistakes. I've also done a lot of good things, right? So I'm not comparing myself to anybody. None of us we didn't come to life together. I came alone, and based on me alone and the goals I've set for my life, and looking at the books I study where I should be, I am doing a good job. I could do a better job, but I am doing a good job, and that's all that matters, right? So the other question is, am I in a rut? That's important. Whether you're not more producing, you're not more growing, you're stuck, and that's a good question. And I have had to answer that. I've shared this several times. A few weeks ago, I had to, look at my life, another learning moment for me, where I found myself doing some things for the sake of doing them, not not growing and not producing results, so I had to correct myself. It's about doing things, about producing results. Life is not about just doing, it's about producing results. You're not going to be happy if you're not growing, right? To be happy, you must grow. When you grow, you'll be happy, so it's not about doing things for the sake of doing it, but doing things because you have a reason, a purpose for doing it. Without reason, you lose your humanity, right? Our humanity is found in our purpose and our reasoning for doing things, right? So I've had to correct different things in my life, even including my exercise, right? I don't just do exercise just because, I got to the place where I thought, all right, every 5 a.m. do it. And sometimes I was just doing it at 5 a.m., without my mind in there, had to bring my mind to a lot of things I do, and be a part of it, be present in the moment. Be present in the moment. Yes, it's good to form habits, that would trump mere motivation. But even in habits, you need to bring your mind to the game. You need to be present in what you do so you can get the beauty, the value of what you are doing. You're not just whiling away time, but you are getting the fullness of presence in what you're doing, right? So when I do my exercises, I am present in the moment. I'm not just checking the box. Even though I'm jogging, I am present in the moment. I'm making the best of that moment while I am exercising. I am there meditating, thinking about my life, as well as getting the value of the exercise that I do, right? When I come in and I pray Monday to Friday, it's not just a check the box. I am present in that moment and getting the value, the intent, the purpose of what I am doing. I was about canceling that, but I see that someone that joins me gets blessed by it, and if there was only one reason I didn't cancel it was because of her, because left to me was like, if no one is getting blessed, why do it? I was going to cancel it, but I paid the price to do it only because of her, and I'm getting the benefit myself in doing that. I don't want to get into a rut in anything that I do, right? I don't want to do things for the sake of doing it. I want to do things that have life in them, right? So that's what I did a few weeks ago. Check my whole life, right? I don't want to get into doing things just because I want to make all the, I just want to check the box, do it because I want people to call me this or that. I'm going past that. I'm going past that. Age, I'm going past that, right? I do things because there's a reason for doing it, not just for doing it. But so I'm offered a lot of things that will be wrought in my life. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do what I'm doing right now. I do it because I choose to do it. And I believe there's value in it. That is the only reason I'm doing it. When that value stops being there, I'm going to stop doing it, right? I believe that I am getting blessed. Like I say again, I'm the first person that gets blessed when I come and do this. Thanks, Pastor Fola. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for stopping by. I'm the first person that gets blessed doing this, right? And for as long as I'm getting blessed, I'll do it. I do find one or two other person probably gets blessed. Great. Right. The day I stop getting blessed with it and no other person is getting blessed, I'm done. I'm done doing it. But as long as it's a blessing, yes, right? I don't have to do it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to do anything, right? I only do things that I believe in, right? And the other thing about this age group is the other question we ask in this age group is, am I a good partner and parent? So, and one of the things I've shared one of my life goals, is to be the best husband there is, and I walk towards it. To be the best father there is, and I walk towards it. Those are my life goals, right? And those are questions that hit you in this age group. You're asking yourself, having come this far, how are you doing in your life goals? And the answer to those questions could create a crisis in your life, but irrespective of what the answer might be, you still have life ahead of you. You don't have to give up. Your answer might be that you're not doing a good job, but for as long as there's life, there's hope. You don't have to get into a crisis just because of your result, right? For as long as there's life, there's hope. Even if it's one more day you have to leave. What's important is what you do with the days you have left, right? You can't do anything about yesterday. You might have made a mistake. You might have missed it. You can only take the wisdom and do a better job, right? So do I have good relationship with my children? You know, some of those questions that I get asked, you know. If you're not, you can begin to build that relationship with your children. You know, if you do, you can just continue at that and make it better. You know, the other question that comes is, how many years do I have left? None of us knows. None of us knows. None of us knows. And that should not trouble you. You know, that's another thing that brings about midlife crisis. You start worrying, oh, will I die tomorrow? Oh, maybe I have 2 more years. That's not within your control. Don't let the things you cannot do disturb the things you can do. Don't let the things that are outside of your control disturb the things that are within your control. God, life does not expect you to worry about the things that are outside your control. It expects you to not worry, but do something about the things you can do. Do something about the things that are within your control, not the things that are outside of your control, right? I have 4 more years or less at work. So I tell everybody that all the time, and I'm making the optimum use of it, right? Optimum use of it. I decided I'm done competing. I couldn't be bothered if I get 1 naira more. You know, it's my time to give back. And that's all I do every time I go to work. I just enjoy myself. I enjoy the people I work with. And I'm just there to be a blessing, to be a mentor, to be a help. You know, I'm working for free right now. I don't have to do anything. I do everything that I do to give back. You know, that's what I've decided with the remaining years I have in the workplace, you know. So, yeah. So it's making use of the wisdom you have up to today and taking ownership of your journey going forward, right? And making use of the wisdom you have, you know. So it's not about how many more years you have left. It's about making the best of what you are given, starting from today, right? Nobody's going to promise you tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you die, who knows? But that's not you. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the things you cannot control. Stay with the things you can control, right? So, does the life I am living have meaning beyond myself? You know, that's one other thing that produces crisis in this age, you know. And this age is all about legacy. You know, when you focus too much on yourself, you're going to have a crisis, right? It's not as much as myself. It's about how am I a blessing to other people. One of my relations, you know, in a midlife crisis, and you know, was thinking about she had wasted her life with a partner, with a husband. She felt all of that has been a waste, you know, and all that thought, they ended up in a divorce, you know, after 25 years of marriage. You know, that's what midlife crisis can cause. You know, a lot of people, when you wrongly use it, you know, you're going to end up in disaster, right? It's not as much as yourself. It's about the legacy you're leaving behind. It's about how much you're affecting other people's life. You know, what would you be remembered for, right? All the things that take place in your life on the inside of you, it's not just for inside of you. It's about how much you can use that to be a blessing to someone else, right? That's the essence of our being here, right? And that's the way you rightly use this age of life, is using all the experience of life you've gained to be a blessing to someone else, to leave a legacy for yourself, right? So the last question here is what people and purpose do I really care about, you know, and how can I invest in them? You know, how can I leave a legacy? What else do I want to do, right? So it's having that for yourself. You know, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a purpose set for yourself, you don't have a why, you're going to be sad. You're going to expose yourself to all the negatives, in this time of life. And there is a website. I'll probably run through some of those things you're going to expose, as we close, that it is a reality that you live through this timeline, that it's not to defeat you, it's for you to overcome it. There are hormones that flow during this period. There's a period, women go through menopause, and menopause is not meant to defeat you. They're just hormones that flow at this period of time. You can overcome it. You don't have to use it as an excuse, to live less in life. You can use it to overcome, right? You can walk through it. It doesn't have to defeat you. It's a reality, which is not to defeat you. You can overcome it. You can learn from how other people have overcome it. It's not a debt. It's not a failure sentence. It's just part of life that you can use and overcome by what you know about it, right? Oh, so midlife or middle age is a transition period, between young adulthood to old age, right? You're going from a young adulthood when you have all that energy, you're setting up things for yourself, and you're transiting from that to old age, right? It's pretty much a consolidation of all the things you have set in place for yourself in the young adult age, right? The trajectory of which you're using to consolidate your achievements in life, right? Young adult age, you have energy, right? Hold on, this midlife, you don't have as much energy, but you have wisdom. Hopefully you can consolidate the things you have started building your young adult age here in your midlife, right? So we realize in this midlife that we're not as young as we used to be. Like I said, things begin to fall apart. You start losing your hair, you start having gray hair, you start maybe losing your vision. It's not that you're not seeing as well. See, I'm having to put on my glasses to see the writings. So also our focus probably goes away from just having strengths, to our responsibilities. We're asking you about our achievements in life, those are probably more important to us than just going from one party to the other, so our life seems to be shedding some of the possibilities, we don't have that strength to run after the things we've always had energy for, but then we have wisdom. What we lack in strength, we gain in wisdom, and we if rightly used, we can achieve the same things, right? It's not necessarily the physical exertion, but we can use, the wisdom to compensate for the energy we lack, right? So midlife crisis is what comes when you can handle those challenges of midlife well. It's a transition of identity and self-confidence. When mortality hits you, it can hit on your confidence in all the things you had, all those dreams you've had. You could think that they will never be achieved, because your energy, your strength is waning. But it's never too late. You're never too late. What you lack in energy, you've gained in wisdom, and you can do things through other people if you truly use your wisdom well, respecting your season of life, right? It's not the time to start trying to, when there's crisis, some people want to start go and do as if they are still as strong as they used to be. No, in this age, it's not the energy that you need, it's the wisdom you've gained. But some people still try to go and do as if they are strong as they used to be. That's called midlife crisis, right? It's you being able to win here is respecting your strength, respecting your season, respecting that you're not as strong as you used to be, but then you are wiser, right? So it is a psychological phenomenon, where people struggle with the reality of their age. That's what we call midlife crisis. So let me run through some of this. I do have a website here that talks about some of those things that people struggle with in midlife. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to run through some of this as we try and bring this to a close. it says 17 signs you are having a midlife crisis, and one of it says that you're gaining or losing weight, so it could affect you in a way that you're either gaining or losing weight, and more for women, as your hormones begin to flow around, you could be that you are apathetic, you're losing feeling, things that normally make you happy are not, just because of the way you're reasoning things. It could also be that you're experiencing unusual pain, physical pain, when menopause sets in, that could hit you, because your hormones for menopause, could just, you have all those heat flash, and all of that sweating that comes, just the reality of life. You just have to handle it. You're asking yourself deep and probing questions, well, how did my life fly away? How much more life do I have? Like me, I have just 4 more years in paid employment. You could be asking yourself, have I achieved everything can I achieve in 4 years? And all of that could get you worried, but it's not about how long, it's about how well, right? Even if you have 1 more year, you can do a lot in that 1 year, if only you can be at peace with it. But long as there's anxiety, it will blow past and you will achieve nothing. You have to find your peace wherever you find yourself. In peace, you can do a lot. In anxiety, you can do nothing, right? So the other thing that happens is you're making rash decisions, right? Just because you're different things are hitting you at the same time. Again, you'll find your peace. In peace, you can do a lot. In anxiety, you can do nothing. You're turning down opportunities because you've lost confidence in yourself. Those are possible things. You're not sleeping through the night because you're getting worried. That could affect you. Could be a sign of midlife crisis. Your vision of the future is dismal, right? You're getting discouraged. You're losing faith in yourself. And all of that doesn't have to be. You're constantly bored, because you're losing confidence. Those are possibilities, but it doesn't have to be your reality. It only happens when you're not handling the season of life well, right? And it could also be that you're having overwhelming sense of loss. You feel you've lost the years. Like I gave an example of one of my relations that ended up in divorce because she felt she had wasted her time with her husband. She was thinking that maybe she'll have a better husband or this, that. You have to control. You have to control your thoughts. If you don't control your thought, they will lead you where you don't want to go to. You have to be the master of your thoughts. Otherwise, you're gonna regret it. You become overly concerned about your appearance, because your appearance is fading away. I can see my hairlines, losing my hair. I'm not seemingly appearing as the handsome person I've always had in my mind, because I have to then manage the gray hair, the fading hair, the baldness. You can do some things about it. You can tone your body with exercise. You can eat your eating habits, but there's still going to be the aging process. You have to come to peace with it and do with it what you can. And what you can, it is what it is. Right? Don't let that disturb you, And there are still other things I'm going to stop, but I guess you all get the point. That's what's important, is the fact that it's just a reality of it's just a reality of life, during this age, about 40 to 65 or 60, it's the aging process, and you need to know what you can control, what you can't control, what you can do, what you can do, and find your peace. Right? Don't spend your time on things you can't control. Don't spend your time on the things you can do. Spend your time on the things you can do, right? The things you can control. You are the master of your fate. You are the master of your destiny. You are the captain of your soul. You are the captain of this body. make the best use of it. Right. In closing, I'm going to look at some quotes and see how these thoughts, go in line with those quotes. Right. And one of them is by Diane Ackerman. She says, "I don't want to get to the end of my life and find that I lead just the length of it. I want to have lived the width of it as well." And that's the question. One of the things that hits you in midlife. You're wondering, where did all the years go to? Right. So wherever you find yourself, whether you like me, yourself 4 more years, you can still do something about it. You can begin to make the best of the life that you have. Don't just let the remaining years just burn away. Enjoy life. Set goals for yourself. Set goals for yourself for today. Set goals for yourself for this week. Set goals for yourself for the rest of this year. Set goals for yourself for next year, right? Set goals and attack them. Use the wisdom you have gained. You probably don't have the strength you used to have, but you have wisdom. You have the benefit of having lived life. Look over your life. How did you make it up to this time? What is it that you can take away? What is it that you have succeeded in? How do you repeat the success? How do you reduce the failures? Right. That you can do to your life, and you can begin to gain the width of life, not just that your burning years. Right. Stevie Wonder says that you can't base your life on other people's expectation. That's powerful. Right. Some of us just born years because we're living other people's life, because we have not set a goal for our own life. We don't have our own expectation. It's the expectation of your parents, your expectation of your friends, your expectation of your pastor, the expectation of your boss, the expectation of your friends. When are you going to have your own expectation? When are you going to set goals of your own? Years I'm waiting for you. Right? You need to have your own expectations of life. That is what gives you happiness. That's what gives you joy. That's what brings width to your life, not just length, right? Tony Robbins puts it this way. He says, the fact is, you are not a manager of circumstances. You are the architect of your life's experience. You are the architect of your life's experience. The experience you're going to have today. Don't wait for things to happen, then you start chasing after those things. Manage what you have today and determine the weather you want to live today with. This is a new week. How do you want this week to be for you? You are the master of your week. What week do you want to have? Write it down. Ask yourself, how do I make this week the week I want? Write it down and begin to do it. Begin to do the things that will make your week the way you want your week. Don't wait for your week to come, then you start reacting. Be intentional about your life. Be proactive about your life. Next month is going to start next week. How do you want your October to be? What do you need to do to make your October the way you want it to be? How do you want your November to be, your December to be, your next year to be? Be the architect of your own experience of life. Things don't just happen. Things happen according to your expectation, according to what the reward or the harvest of the seed that you have sown and you are sowing. What seeds are you sowing? Are you deserving of the life you are expecting or you want? Nelson and Anderson puts it this way. He says, the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to see it. And that's what we talk about, leaving a legacy. Not just being about yourself, but how do you leave this world a better place than you met it, right? That is important. That is what will give you life. If all your eyes about yourself, you're not going to be happy. You're going to get bored, right? Part of life, part of living life again. Don't forget, it's sowing a seed, right? Sowing a seed. What the beauty of each day is the seed you're sowing, not the harvest you're having, right? When you then sow the seed of being a blessing to others, life will bless you back. When I plant trees that I don't plant to just for my own shade, but to make life better, life will reward me, because life, it gives the harvest, but that harvest is a function of the seed that you're sowing, right? And if you don't forget, the way we're created, where God created us all to succeed, and the way we tap into that succeeding anointing or power is by love and faith. When we walk in love and faith, the universe, God will bless us. When we walk out of fear and selfishness, we're walking against that flow of life from God above, right? And lastly, we'll look at Louis Hall's, she says that if you are bored with life, that is, if you're bored with life, if you don't get up every morning with a burning desire to do things, you don't have enough goals. So if you don't have enough goals, you're going to be bored with life, but if you set targets for yourself, if you can dream a dream, then you cannot get bored. You'll always be something you're pursuing. Also, when you set an expectation, most often than not, your expectation will not be cut off, right? When you set an expectation, your expectation is a prayer. Your expectation is also a wake-up call to your unconsciousness to live, to life. It's a prayer also to God of what you want, right? You don't forget the popular verse, Matthew 7:7, ask and you shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open unto you. When you ask, and when you're expecting, your expectation is you're asking. Your expectation is you're seeking. Your expectation is you're knocking, right? And God has promised that you will get a response to your expectation, right? And when you have expectation, you can't get bored. I don't ever get bored, right? Because I have goals I'm pursuing. I have lifetime goals, right? Goals that are for where I want to be on my dying bed. And I pursue that every day. I have goals for my year. I have goals for my week. I have goals for my month, right? And as you go through the middle life, it helps to have goals. At the end of my middle life, where do I want to be? How do I want to lead my late adult life? When I die, what do I want to leave behind? What do I want to be remembered for? I mean, this would help you overcome midlife crisis. I hope you learned something. I hope it makes a difference for you. But that's all I have for today. And so next week, we'll come back and talk about late adult life next week. So that will be the last part of our book, in chapter 3 of our book. Then after, we'll go on to chapter 4. We'll go to chapter 4 next month after we do the late adult life next week. Thanks, my dear sister Agnes. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Pastor Fuller, for stopping by also. And any other person on Facebook, thank you on YouTube. God bless you all. Have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.